people ask me, what is your biggest confusion about humanity? It's like man's inhumanity to man. This recognition that we are something beyond ego, and we don't, we have a divided world, a world that believes that, if you're male, you're different than if you're female. If you're Muslim, you're different than if you're Christian. If you're born on one side of the river, then you're different than the person who wasn't. And we've taken on all of these ego beliefs. And my real strong thing about it is that I think that my generation, when I was in my 20s and so on, we were the generation that had to end a war. We had to end a war. I took my doctoral orals on the 4th of May, 1970. The announcement came on the radio, on the television, at around 4 in the afternoon, that the government had put live bullets into their rifles, and they fired on students who were protesting the war at Kent State, and 4 of them were killed. You can imagine what I felt, because I was really working very hard to try to end that war, when I had to go in and defend my dissertation, which seemed so trivial, when I considered what our government was now doing. We were going to put and all these students were doing was protesting a horrific war where people were dying in huge numbers. I think the new generation, this generation, it's their job isn't to end a war. It's to end war. It's to end the concept of war. And the concept of war comes out of this ego identification of who we are. I'm separate from everyone, separate from God, separate from what's missing, this idea of separation and so on. And we will inch by inch move towards a place where people will begin to recognize their connection to each other rather than their separation, or we'll have to just start all over. We'll have to start it over. As Einstein said, if the next war that is fought, he said, after this one will be fought with sticks again. We'll have to start all over again. We'll have to start all over. And it's really about slaying this ego, this massive ego thing. You can see it in our foreign policy. You can see it in the way that we treat it. You can see it on television. You can see it in all of the ads that you see for having to take pills for everything. And that's what I feel my work is about. What my life is about now is ending the concept of hatred and separation.
John Donne was an English poet, noted as the first and one of the finest metaphysical poets. The paradoxical human union of spirit and matter was a recurring theme. Perhaps the one single quality that defines mysticism is the idea of oneness, which John Donne expresses so poignantly in this poem written in the early years of the 17th century. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. Therefore is the idea of oneness, which John Donne expresses so poignantly in this poem written in the early years of the 17th century. In order to reach a higher state of awareness and bliss in our lives, we must understand the truth of that first line. That can only happen when our ego mind gets the message. Yet mystical teachers and poets are always reminding us of our connectedness and the oneness of everything and everyone. We must look beneath the surface and beyond appearances in order to grasp the unity consciousness they speak of. As we look at our body, it does appear to be a separate organism, but a closer look reveals a multitude of organs and rivers of fluids containing zillions of life forms with even more zillions of invisible bacteria, all working together to form this body. To rephrase John Donne's enduring contribution, no cell is an island entire of itself. Every cell is a piece of the body, a part of the main. If a life form be contaminated, the whole is the less. Any cell's illness or death diminishes me, because I am involved in the whole body. When you see yourself as connected to everyone, you immediately cease your judgment of the other and see that person connected via invisible threads, just as your ankles and your elbows share the same unseen life force. Therefore, compassion becomes an automatic reaction to everyone. You see all of humanity as one undivided and indivisible family. Once you can view all others as family members rather than competitors or traitors, you will reach out with love rather than with a weapon of defense or destruction. There was a time when I tended to view panhandlers holding up cardboard signs pleading for money with contempt, often saying to myself or anyone within earshot, why don't they go out and work for their money like I do? Now I remind myself that in some mysterious and yes, mystical way, I am connected to that person. Their poverty, uncleanliness, and ill health diminishes all of us, myself included. I send them a silent blessing and vow to do more to end such conditions on the planet, and most important, I feel more compassionate and loving in my heart. I am reminded how we all need each other and that our connections are much greater than the mere tribal connections of our immediate genetic families.